Welcome back to the Teacher's AI Cafe. I'm Kane, a teacher and a parent who wants AI to give us back our time. I share practical classroom-tested AI strategies to cut down your workload, improve your feedback and reduce stress so you can get your evenings back and be more present with your friends and family. No jargon, just actionable steps. Grab your mug. Now let's get going.
Welcome back to the podcast. Today we're exploring the biggest AI updates for the four major platforms that have happened in 2025 as we think about moving into 2026 already. So what I'm going to talk about today is the platforms of ChatGPT, the one I prefer, Microsoft Copilot, Claude, and Google Gemini, and give you some practical takeaways on exactly what's happened this year and what's available. And I did this really early on in my podcast series, but now it's definitely time for a revisit. I'm also on holidays at the moment, sitting in Switzerland, so it's easier to do this now than try and come up with big podcasts with videos, directions, because the internet is really, really slow, which is really weird. So I'm going to start off with ChatGPT. What's new this year? We've got study mode, which turns it into a tutor instead of just an answering machine for your students. You can walk students through reasoning steps with guiding questions, nudging them towards understanding rather than giving a quick answer. I did a podcast on this a little while ago, and I really liked their version of it over what Gemini had. We can have voice and audio conversations, so you can talk to AI, and that is much better for some people because you don't have to type, you can express yourself clearly, and you can also have that natural interaction between the platform and yourself. And you can also use it hands-free or while you're moving around. And you also, because it reads the answers out loud, it actually is great in accessibility for something like language practice as well, a bit outside the context. It does image generation within the library itself now, so it can create things like diagrams, charts, illustrations, and store them in an organized library that's with related prompts, ideal for visual learners, or fast-like creations that you need on the go. Do that whole podcast on projects, one of my favorite things. Keeps everything organized in context to one place. If you've been using a platform for a long time, you've got huge amounts of different chat all queued up. By putting it inside projects, it is much neater. It allows you to access past prompts, specifically when that topic, you upload resources, rubrics, notes, any other education material you want to use, and use specifically within that chat. And because it remembers all the details, it's easier to build, say, whole units and stay consistent in terms of terminology and the resources it's actually drawing on within that. It also now does advanced data analysis. You can drop in things like spreadsheets, assessment data. The AI turns it into insights, graphs for you. No extra software needed, or you don't need high-end Excel skills to get the same sort of data. Did an episode on this as well, which is the connectors, where AI can link directly into your external third-party applications in terms from the AI, things like Google Drive, Microsoft 365, Notion, Slack, one I use is Canva. You now search, summarize, and even update your own documents inside these other platforms, which is really, really handy. And agents, I am going to do a dedicated one on this, and think of these as your personal AI assistants. They can delegate tasks to. An agent can prepare things, quiz templates weekly, check uploading essays, example, a rubric. You can also send it out to actually do research, check out websites where you find information. And so it's quite powerful. It is limited how many times you can use it a month on the paid plan. But once again, that one you can give a specific task to do. You can even send it off to, say, train tickets or movie tickets for you if you want as well. So what are these changes made for teachers? I guess we're seeing a shift away from what started as purely as a chat tool to sort of a classroom hub if used correctly, configured correctly for school. Study mode encourages real learning. Connectors saves time on file hunting. Projects keeps things organized for us. Together, they make this platform a more reliable digital colleague or AI assistant who remembers your lessons and doesn't mind. Together, this sort of makes Together, this makes ChatGPT a better and improved product than it was 12 months ago. Microsoft Copilot. So this is based on OpenAI. It's got a teach mode. It can create full lessons, quizzes, rubrics. Just give it your topic and your year level. It can align outcomes, curriculum, standards, and learning points. This is very similar when we look at it because the basis of it is based on OpenAI. So you get a lot of the underlying infrastructure that supports in there. So it's got a student mode, which is study and learn, where students get scaffolded help through guided study sessions. Perfect for revision, independent work, with some more guardrails in place than you get with ChatGPT itself. So Copilot, probably where Microsoft use it most, is you can use it in Word, PowerPoint, and Teams. So you can use it to summarize long documents, generate visuals directly within slides, translate lesson plans, different languages, do editing, modifications, get feedback. It's all done within the Microsoft platform, and that will suit a lot of people because that's the platform they're using it. So we've got Copilot pages, which can draft AI-generated reports, some plain documents, newsletters, things you can edit collaboratively within the platform. It does image generation. Once again, it's based on OpenAI for that reason. So there's things like pictures, diagrams, historical scenes, though if you can't always go get a primary source, you can. Scientific visuals without leaving Word or PowerPoint. And that's very, very handy if that's your platform of choice in terms of saving time and moving in and out of that particular program. It's got Copilot Studio, which can build mini school agents for repetitive admin tasks and auto-generating things like parent updates, timetables, things like that can be really, really helpful in there. And it's got previews of a learning zone that's sort of under construction, which is like a personalization feature that generates adaptive practice activities for students. I guess if you use something like Education Perfect and all those other platforms, they will adjust themselves depending on the answers you get to actually improve or push the people using it. So Copilot, it's improving. It's looking at streamlining everything you can already do on Office 365. And that makes sense because they sell Office 365. If they can add this on, I know in the pricing, if you buy it standalone to get 365 with AI, you pay more for it than you did for what they're now calling classic Microsoft Office. So they obviously adding it on because they want to make more money out of it and charge more for this platform. But like I said, if you're in a school system that already pays it for you on your behalf and it's giving you access, definitely go explore and have a play with it. Next one is Claude. So Claude also has a learning mode. Like I said, one company brings something out and they will rush it to sort of get that parity for the market. So Claude uses Socratic questions that build critical thinking instead of handing over the solution. So it does a slightly different OpenAI's version. It has an expanded memory, so you can give over 100,000 plus context points. So what that means, it can handle entire textbooks, multiple essays, long unit plans in one go, and making it great for batch marking or creating batches of writing or revising, even an entire syllabus. You can do that in one go. Where I do that in OpenAI, I've got to upload all the documents individually, say within the project and refer to them. Claude has that advantage. So you can do custom tone and structured memory. So it adapts its writing style, keeps to your preferences, your feedback. So it gives that consistency in the language that you actually send out if you say doing parent letters. The artifacts, and these can generate things like outputs, digital worksheets, and simulations that students can use immediately. A skills library for teachers. So this allows you as a teacher to create skills using a reusable tool for, say, grading, formatting, and curriculum alignments, and share them across departments. Like I said, we see these sort of changes that we're seeing more collaborative tools within this space because I see that's where the market is. If people collab in the workplace, in education, therefore they're going to be more appealing in terms of purchasing decision. LMS or learning management systems integrations, things like Canvas, Moodle, and a few others that are getting embedded into Claude, which will then make it easier for, say, quick feedback or resource generation, then, say, taking content out, creating that feedback, and then putting it back into the learning management systems. Where Claude really stands out for everyone else, like I said, it's superpower is its context. It can put so much information into a single chat. It can save you a lot of time. Because it remembers everything in these long conversations, making it great for reflective teaching and student coaching. So you're not going to have lots of different chats. You keep working through the same one. And it's also good for going things like deep marketing, writing feedback, and producing, I guess, thoughtful teaching tools. Finally, Google Gemini. So Google have released Gemini for Education, and this is now live in things like Classroom, Docs, and Slides. I mean, you can build, adapt, and find resources directly from your usual workplace. It's the same as what Microsoft are doing with their particular platforms, whereas Microsoft obviously pays for theirs. Google's Classroom, a lot of components of those are free, and I'm not sure with Gemini for Education it's free or not, but something to look into. Lesson planning differentiation. Same with all platforms. You can create lessons, quizzes, rubrics, apply to standards. You can adjust reading levels, add visuals, translate automatically. And all the platforms do that. But this is where programs like custom wrappers like Different are starting to lose their power because people can learn to do it with their own AI platforms and they don't need to go and pay for a wrapper service. It does deep research. It can produce some citation-rich research briefs in minutes. But going out, obviously, usually they're internet references. It doesn't really go into story into paper-based references. Still not that reliable. Got a thing called Gems, which is your custom AI assistants, where you can set up things like history coach, SR reviewer, that teachers and schools can design for their students to actually use. In connectivity with Canvas, so it's got an interactive workspace, co-creating visuals, say coding, mini simulations, collaborative brainstorming. Once again, that's becoming an important component, as what IT does very well. You can make audio summaries. It can convert long documents or readings into listable overviews when commuting or accessibility or revision. And that's, for example, I've shown that under Notebook LM, which is one of Gemini's products. They've now got Gemini Live, which is in the early stages. You can talk with Gemini in real time, share your screen, camera for visual assistance. Ideal for demonstrating problem-solving steps, and you're talking your way through something or a problem with someone. Now we've got Classroom Insights. They've added some driven analysis that identifies which students need extension or extra help and tracking progress across units. Once again, people with the Google platform that they already use within the department or district. So the advantage with Gemini is it's built into Google's ecosystem. So ecosystem. Did I say ecosystem? I think I did. So it seems a lot more seamless than, say, using Open AI with Connect, for example. Speeds up your pairing, makes it easier to differentiate because you're already in the platform, you get access to it. And it gives some data-driven insights if you're allowed to put that data, obviously, into the platform, depending on your school policies. This is all within documents and classrooms. So once again, it makes a good digital assistant for teachers on that platform. So a quick comparison. ChatGPT is good for deep learning, connectors, visuals, projects. It's really good for multi-subject teachers needing a centralized planning, creative materials. But you can, like I said, all these different platforms can be used for everything, but some do some things better than others at this stage. Copilot, seamless office integration, if that's the platform. Structured planning, like I said, if you're at schools or in teams, it's the best one to go for. Claude, so things like tutoring, long context tasks, and tone consistency. It does it better than the other ones. It's good for teachers that just focus on writing, things like feedback and inquiry learning. And lastly, Gemini, built in Google Workspace for support, differentiate the analytics within that context. So Google Classroom, schools, really other people use it. And it increases their efficiency, also the accessibility of those tools when they're doing it. So each platform is stepping up to make teaching more sustainable for us. Now, ChatGPT connects your workflows, Copilot automates admin, you're looking general, Claude deepens reflection, Gemini personalizes learning. They're not replacements for us as always, but like I said, they're co-teachers, they're your digital assistant, your personal assistant, virtual assistant, whatever you want to call it. They take on those repetitive tasks. They allow us to do things very, very quickly, but always we've got to focus our expertise to make sure we're getting the right outputs as well as the questions right going in. So at the base of everything is your professional knowledge. Well, that's it for the AI roundup. I'll try one small thing this week, whatever platform you prefer to use. So ask it to plan a short task or translate a parent email, or because every minute you save adds up over the year. I'll catch you next time in the lounge. Once again, if you're enjoying this podcast, share and like the podcast, share it with your colleagues, recommend the podcast to them, get on to Apple Podcasts, give me a 5-star rating, and give me a nice review on there. I don't think I've got any yet, not that I've actually looked, to be honest. Until then, always, keep up the good work, and I'll talk to you next week.